It's a wintry scene outside, and it's nice and hot here inside the UNI Wrestling room as we sit down with UNI head wrestling coach Doug Schwab. Last time we talked, we were recapping the national championships. Yeah. What's happened since then, Coach?
A lot of work, a lot of building your skills, and I mean just time in the room. You guys are really learning their wrestling, and trying to add layers onto to where they're good, and we started to shore up some holes, but to me it was more trying to build on things they really do really well, and so they can do them against anybody in the damn country. We had 8 guys win the national tournament, they won matches. We got to go win more than one match. And now it's talking about 3 and 4 and 5, so they're all up on the stand, and I think guys have done the work that was necessary to do that, and now it's just to me going on and competing, and then like we made how the jump we made from the start of the season to the end of last season, we need to just do that again, and we'll be in a real good place.
Each team has its own identity, its own culture. What are you gathering as we are now mid-November with this team and this group of guys?
I think just eager to learn, to get better, to prove themselves. I think we got a lot of great leaders. I mean, Parker comes to mind because of the success he's had, but how he's done it though. There's not a guy that puts more work and time into his craft. And is committed to it. And I mean, you see on that board back there, and you see all that blue writing. That's all stuff that he's working on. That's all stuff that he's trying to get better at. And he's right there to being the best guy in the country, and he's doing that. If I'm a young guy, and even if I'm a coach, I'm like, oh shit, I can take a lesson from that. I can learn from that. And I think guys are really feeding off that, and they're trying to build from what he's doing, not be exactly like him, but I'm going to work like him. I'm going to be eager like him. I'm going to learn like him. I'm just going to put that kind of time into it, and I think you've seen a guy do that. And our young guys got to compete last weekend, and they took a lot of risk, and that's what we ask. And so I think those guys are all learning from the older guys, and the older guys pass it down, and I think those guys are just trying to pass it on. So our program's in the best spot it's ever been.
Any advantage of having the young guys hit the mat first to kick off a new season?
I think. I told them about leading the way, and that's kind of been our motto this year is lead the way. So you lead the way. If it's in the wrestling room, it's outside the wrestling room, if it's in school, if it's around your family, be the guy that is the example. And those young guys definitely were. But just like I said, how they competed. Like they made mistakes, but I don't really care if they make mistakes. Some guys lost some matches, but they responded. And that, to me, that's what this team's built on, being warriors, being backside warriors, but also it's always about response. It's not about anything other than that, and we can control that. And those young guys did a great job of that last weekend, and now it's just time for everyone else to take the torch and move it on.
November and December, big for the tournaments, the opens. Why is it important to get those reps in, no matter if you're in the starting lineup or not, heading into a new year and the dual season?
Yeah, I think just we got to see when the lights shine on them. Doing it here's one thing, and we always say you sink to the level of your training. So I think the level of our training has been incredibly high. So there really shouldn't be a drop, and hopefully we see a raised level. So to me, when the lights come on, how do they react? Do they freeze up and shrink in, or when it gets tough, do they respond to that? And that's to me, that's what this is for. It's really to show these guys how far they've come, because we've worked on things now working on something and being able to do it in the room, and then being able to do it when it's not cutting time, so to speak. Do they do it in those moments? When they do it in those moments, then we got it.
Also, what happened about a month and a half ago was the Hall of Fame. Always good when you induct a UNI wrestler in the Hall of Fame, but your brother was inducted, and why is that special night for you, your family, and also the UNI Wrestling program to get another Hall of Famer in there?
My brother had an incredible career, and I don't. Not a lot of people know his story, especially when you get removed from something, you hear about that guy and you see his name, you're like, oh, well, he placed twice. But I don't think what people realize what he went through, and, the injury, and that he came back and he placed with his knee the way it was and I'm not being biased, that's how it was incredible. And to know how good he was at the time when he was a true freshman, he won 49 matches, and he was 5th in the country, and he was number 2 on the Olympic ladder the next year when he's 19 years old, and really a guy, I think he would have been in the Olympics. I think he would have been in the Olympics multiple times. He was winning medals, and I think just to get UNI to recognize him, and people to recognize again, man, that he didn't have the career that he was capable of, but it was still Hall of Fame worthy. And I'm so proud of him to go in there, and for our family, especially my mom and dad have both passed away, and that was something that was really important to my mom. And it was a great night for UNI Wrestling and for the Schwab family.
We're just getting started. We'll be back with more with head coach Doug Schwab from inside the UNI Wrestling room right after this here on Panther Sports Talk.